Now it's time for us to explore the custom function, which is available as part of your Power Query Editor. What is a custom function? It is a user-defined function. You remember, so far I have used some function, not I. So in this case, what happened? It has used the Power Query Editor to use some functions. What are those functions? For example, in this case, it has used, let me do one thing. I'll just select this one, this column. Okay, added custom column. This is the one. So in this case, it has used of the M script functions like a table dot add column. This is a built-in function. This function is available as part of your Power BI or Power Query itself. This function has been created by the creator of the Power BI desktop tool. The text dot add column, text dot combine, date to text function. These functions are called your built-in functions. These are available as part of your Power BI itself. All we need to do just simply reuse this function by passing the argument. Hey, use this function. This function is written by someone else. The first argument you need to specify the date column, and second one is DD, because I need to extract only the date from this column. So for this, use this function. This function is written by someone else. Otherwise, what will happen? You need to write lines and lines of code. That is the reason why we call Power BI as a low code, no code. There are some cases we don't have to write any script. In this case, we did not write any script. There are some cases we have to write the script. Instead of writing the script, what we are doing is we are using our own function. Instead of using table dot add column, instead of date dot to text function, these functions were created by Microsoft. But we need to create our own function like this. Is it possible to do that? That is what is called as user-defined function. We are going to define a function. There are some cases we need to create a function from our side. Okay, we cannot use all the time to solve different business logic with the built-in functions provided by Power BI. To solve certain business logic, we have to use our own functions. Okay, now we will see how we can create the function. What is a function? What is a custom function? What is stored procedure? I told you what is stored procedure. At an high level, I told you. Stored procedure and stored the custom function. With these two things, you can create kind of a ready mix. You can create kind of a ready mix kind of thing. For example, you want to prepare your favorite dish. Let's say you want to prepare the jamun, okay, the sweet. You don't have to prepare everything, right? You don't have to take all the ingredients. You don't have to mix everything. Everything is readily available. You go and buy the ready mix from the shop, and then you just and they take that thing dough, and then you, with whatever the shape that you needed, you shape it and then put it in oil. That's all, right? Your favorite dish is ready. Similarly, once you create a stored function or custom function or stored procedure, but here there is nothing called stored procedure. Instead, the custom function is there. But even in SQL, we have something called stored function. Instead of saying custom function, we call it as a stored function. But both the terms are same, because these functions are created by us as a developer. We are going to create this function to solve a specific business or implement a specific business logic. Once you create a function, you can use it as many times as you want it. In the interest of non-developers, non-IT people, I will explain it in deep detail. Okay. For example, another example, instead of saying ready mix, in your company, you have 5 lakh, like in TCS, 5.5 lakh employees are there. 5.5 lakh employees are there. Okay. And each employee, you need to find out, let's say you are part of payroll, you need to compute the net salary. Okay, you need to compute it. They have a lot of if you look at the salary breakup in TCS and those kind of company, it's a big thing. Okay, a lot of calculations involved. Okay, you have something called basic, HRA, and likewise many things are there. Okay, and this is kind of your earnings, and you have something called loss of pay, advance amount taken. These are called reductions. This is your earnings in simple term. Okay. You will subtract the reduction from the earnings, you will get the net salary. You get the net salary. So what you can do is earnings minus deduction. That is the formula. Okay. The earnings, what are the columns that you need to add it? Everything you create a function. Okay. Let's say you have a function. In this function, you pass the argument. Okay. Basic HRA. For each and every employee, the HRA basic will differ, right? But you need to define the argument, everything, all the earnings related arguments, basic, HRA, and bonus, comma, and so and then variable component, everything. Okay. And then the earnings related parameters and deduction related loss of pay, comma, advance, something like that. Let's say you did not take any loan and you did not take any leave. In your case, 0. Okay, it will pick up, it goes to your record, and then it says, okay, it's 0, 0. And then, for example, Rupa, right? In your case, it's 0. And then in this case, it add all the values, basic plus HRE plus bonus. And then since there is nothing, is there minus 0? Okay, it gives you the net salary. The function will return. A function has to return a value. Remember this. A function has to return a value. Function is a reusable component. Once you create a function, you can use it you can reuse it as many times as you want it. Create it once and use it as many times as you want it. Something like a ready mix, as I told you a while back. In this case, 5.5 lakh employees. What you can call this function for each and every employees to obtain the net salary. Instead of using the same formula again and again to compute the net salary for each and every employee, put the logic here, earnings minus deductions. This is your net salary and return net salary. That's all. Okay, if you all you need to just call the function by passing these values. It will go and pick up each and every employee's basic, HRA, all the things, release of pay, everything. And then it computes the net salary and it gives you net salary. That's all. All you need to just call the function for each and every employee. Your job is done. You don't have to write or use the same formula redundantly for each and every employee to compute the salary. That is the advantage of using a custom function. And other advantage of using a custom function or user defined function is modularity. In your script, you will have modularity. Okay. So I want to calculate net salary. For that, you will have one function. Supposing you want to have another function wherein you want to compute the gross salary, keep a separate function. So there will be modularity. Later point in time, if you want to refer, okay, so how did I arrive this gross salary? So are there any problem with the formula that we used or the business logic we used? So in that case, you can go to the specific function. The function name is gross salary, calculate gross salary. If you go there, you can easily find out what logic you have written it. If you want to do some kind of changes to it, you can go and change it only to that specific script, not the entire script. But if you don't use the function, you need to go and change it here and there. You need to search it, right? So logically, to identify in my code where I should make changes in that kind of situation also, functions are very much helpful. It gives you the modularity. That is what called as a modularity. So that you can go to a specific part of your script quickly and make the required changes. Or if you want to do some verification, you can go and do it. Okay, for that purpose also. So when somebody is asking what is custom function is a user defined function. It is for reusability purpose. Yes, in our project we have created a couple of reusable component. What do you mean by reusable component? Which component you created? You can tell them I've created data flow. That's a different thing. I'll call you later. I'll teach you later. And then the next one is the custom function. Okay. And again, they'll ask you custom function, what kind of scenarios, that I will explain later. At this moment, first understand what is custom function is all about. Custom function is a user defined function. So in the case of custom function, the functions, right, which we are going to create it for our purpose, so in that function, we will encapsulate the set of logic or calculations into a reusable function, so that you can reuse it wherever you want it. Once you create it, you can use it wherever. So it improves the reusability, maintainability, and modularity. Okay. Now what I do is to create the custom function. Okay, I just do one thing. I'll start with a simple example. The same example, okay, net salary, all the things, okay, and calculating salary. So currently we are in the Power Query data. So these guys, okay, in the Power Query editor, on the left side you have the queries, right? Just beneath the queries, the empty space, you right click on it, and then a new query will be there. In the new query, click on blank query. Okay. I just repeat it one more time. On the left side, you have the queries. Just beneath that, you have empty space. And here you will find the new query. And if you scroll down here, you will find blank query. Click on the blank query. It will open up something like this. Here, what you do is start with equal sign. Inside the parenthesis, you need to specify the argument. For example, in this case, I'm going to say, let's say I know gross salary as number. This is a parameter. This is called parameter. Okay. First, you need to define the parameter, followed by that, as this is a keyword, you can ignore it. What is the data type of this parameter? The number, because gross salary is the number data type. Okay. And then LOP as a number data type. So I'm starting with a very simple example. Okay. You need to understand it. Obviously, certain things requires time. You watch my video 1 or 2 times and practice it. Try with different examples, and I'll give you some example. Practice that. Then only you will gain understanding. You cannot understand everything upfront. Okay. So here I'm going to use a symbol called rocket arrow. Equal sign followed by that greater symbol. Okay. This is called rocket arrow. Okay. And next, what I am going to do is I'm going to say GSAL minus LOP. That's all. Here I am accepting the GSAL gross salary, and then I need the loss of pay. We need to pass the values for these two parameters. So what values that you need to what formula that you need to use it, or what business logic you need to use it in order to get the net salary. This is the thing, right? If I subtract the loss of pay, let's take a simple example. Okay, in this case, I subtract my loss of pay from my gross salary. This one will give me the net salary. Fine. But for this one, you need to give some meaningful name, right? Where you will get the data. For that, you need to specify a parameter here. What data type this parameter is. And similarly, what is the name of the parameter? Same thing. And what is the data type? Okay. So this can be, if you don't ask me, can I use uppercase? Yes, you can use uppercase, lowercase, but use some meaningful name, and don't use uppercase, lowercase, left and right. And you ask your project manager, project leader, or technical leader about the coding standard document, and you just see that what format that you need to use it. Okay. For example, if they use capital G for the parameter, right, and then smaller letter, you follow that. Okay. In this case, I'm going to simply, so my function is ready. This is called your custom function. In this case, at the beginning, you need to specify the equal sign to create a custom function in Power Query Editor. In this case, okay, followed by the equal sign. Inside the parenthesis, whatever the columns that you are going to use it to compute your net salary, you need to use the parameter. You need to specify the parameter and the corresponding data type. If it is a text data type, you need to specify the text data type. Okay. Okay, I'm going to press enter. Sorry, it is. Or what you do is you click on the tick mark here. When you click on the tick mark, this one will get executed. In case of, for example, I'll put something like this. It'll throw an error. In this case, there is some error. So you need to read the error patiently and then see what is the name. LOP1 was not organized. You mentioned about LOP1 in the argument parameter. You did not specify LOP1. Okay, then it is throwing error. It will remove it. Make sure that you are using the proper, whatever the parameter that you use it here. Okay, and then press enter. You are done. No error now. So now what happens? For these two parameters, it is asking you to enter the value here. This is for testing purpose. Okay. For example, I'm going to put here the gross salary is, let's be generous, okay? 100,000, and then the 100,000, let's see, yeah. And here I'm going to say the loss of pay is 20,000, okay? And then if you click on invoke, what will happen is, listen carefully, this 100,000 will get copied to this variable, the parameter. This one will get copied to this parameter. And then these values will get passed to this body. This is your function body, the function argument, and then function body, okay? Once you define the parameter for your function, followed by that, you need to specify the body for the function, okay? In the body, you specify the core logic or the business logic, okay? Or formula or the business rule. So here, if I hit the invoke button, this one will get copied here, this one will get copied here, and these two values will get passed here. And the LOP will get subtracted. So 20,000 minus 100,000, 80,000. Look here, if I click on invoke, look here, 80,000. So now I can use the same function. Look here, I can use the same function. I can pass different values. So let's say another employee is 1,20,000 is getting it, and his loss of pay is 30,000. I created the function only once. I can use it as many times as I want it, isn't it? That is the advantage of using a function. With this simple example, hope you'd have understood. And if I ask you to write a function, this invoke function, you can delete it, but don't delete this one unless you need to delete it for sure, you can delete it, okay? So here what I do is, I'm going to click on this query one, okay? And I'm going to, next to the query one, you can see FX. When you see FX in the Power Query Editor, right, along with any name, that is called your custom function. Someone already created a custom function. What I'll do is I'll just double click, I'll give some meaningful name, calculate net salary. So this function will calculate the net salary for each and every employee. But in this case, once you execute the function by clicking on the tick mark, it prompts you the value for these parameters. Enter here, give me the value for GCL and LOP, and then click invoke. Only then this calculation will be done. Okay, fine. Next, what I do is, okay, we have created the function and then we have tested it by passing the value. The calculation is correct. If I type 100,000, the LOP is 20,000. 100,000 minus 20,000 is how much? 80,000. Yes, it produces the correct output. I create a function and then I have tested it by passing the value. It is doing the correct job. Now, in my company, I have 5 lakh employees are there. Each and every employee, do you think practically I can go and type the gross salary LOP here? That is not possible. Okay. Now we create a function, we tested it, functionality is correct. The behavior, the function behavior is correct. It is meeting our requirement. Correct. We tested it now. The next thing is we need to apply the function in our data set. So for that, I'm going to use another data set. Let me see if the data set is available. I go to because a long back I use this data. I don't remember the file name. Not this one. No, this is the one. What is the file name? This emp1.csv. So I'm going to load this data set here. I'm going to load. See, currently I'm in Power Query Editor. Even in being in the Power Query Editor, you can load the data. Okay, here itself. Okay, click on the new source, and here is the CSV file. I'm going to select here. I'm going to say emp1.csv. I'm going to hit open. This is my data set. Yes, correct. I'm going to hit OK. Look here in the emp1 data set. I have employee number, first name, last name, and manager ID, something like that. And then date of birth, everything is there. And then salary and LOP is there. But here net salary is not there. But we have a created function here. If I apply this function on this data set, for each and every employee, it calculates the net salary automatically. Okay. So now I have created a function. A while back, I created a function. I tested it. The functionality is correct. And then I'm going to use this function. How do I use this function? I'm going to apply this function on this data set. In this data set, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two columns. Okay, and I pass this column as an argument to this function. So in this function body, we know that thing, right? Salary minus LOP, right? It will get subtracted and it will give me the net salary. So for that, what I'm going to the add column. So far, we have seen custom column from examples, conditional column. Now we will take a look at invoke custom function. We have something called invoke custom function. I'm going to click on this icon. And here I'm going to, so even this invoke custom function, it will create a new column. But you need to give some meaningful name, net salary. And then function query, which function you want to create. If you look at the real-time script, you'll find a lot of functions will be there. Which function you want to use it? I want to use calculate salary. In this case, only one function is available. Hence, it shows only one function. Make sure that you are selecting the correct function. Take this function, apply this function on the tables column, not the value here. Click on here, column name. You need to select the column name. Here also you need to select the column name. And here salary. In this case, the column name is here. You need to select the LOP. We don't see any error. Supposing if I select something else, right, it will show something like that. Means you did not select the column here. Make sure that you're selecting the column name and the correct column you need to select it. So you remember GSAL is nothing but in my table, I have salary column. It's nothing but the gross salary. LOP, fortunately, even in my data set, LOP column is available. I'm going to use this column to pass it to this parameter. I'm going to use this column from my data set to pass this to my parameter. You remember in this function, I have created two parameters, GSAL and LOP, right? GSAL as number, comma LOP as number, followed by the rocket symbol. And then I mentioned about the GSAL minus LOP. So now what it is smartly, I'm going to apply this function on this data set. And I'm telling very clearly to this function, hey, you go and pick up the value from SAL column and LOP column in this data set, and then you return the net salary for each and every record. Look here, in a matter of second. So in this case, LOP is 0. It gives me the same value. In this case, LOP is 25,000. So 1,20,000 minus almost 95,000. It calculated. Now we are able to apply the calculate net sal function on this data set. Okay. So this is how you can create a function, test a function. You can apply the function on a data set. So now what happened? Did I calculate the net salary for each and every row? No, right? Did I write anything, any logic here? Nothing. Simply call the function. Supposing you have another data set, if you want to use the same formula, you can use it. Okay. See, for example, in the case of tax, GST and all, right? So even for the amount which you, so for the products that you purchase it, maybe the tax is the same. And even for the product which you sell it, the tax is same. In that kind of situation, you can create a common function. You can use the same function across different data set. Create once, you can use it across the data set. So this wraps up the custom function. It is also called a user-defined function. Hope you understood. With this example, you are able to, how to create a function, or you are able to understand, right? What I will do is, I'll write another simple function. I'm going to write another function, okay? In the blank space, right click on it, new query, and then where is that? Blank query. You need to click on the blank query. You will come here. Instead of writing the logic here, you have another option to write the custom function. Okay, this I forgot to tell you. Click on the view ribbon and click on the advanced editor. If you click on it here, you will find something like this. Here you have space constraint, isn't it? You have space constraint. If you want to write 10 lines of code, if it is a 2 lines of code, it is fine. If you want to write 10 lines of code or 20 lines of code, it is not convenient one. Hence, you click on the advanced editor. Here you write the function which involves many lines of code. Okay. Here also you can create a function. Okay. What I do is I just start with, I'll say, I'm not going to say anything here. I'm going to say a as number. Simple example. Okay. I'll just take this a as number. Followed by that, I'm going to use the rocket symbol. This is called rocket symbol. In the source, what I do is, on the left side, you need to use a variable. Here, squared. For example, I want to. Variable name can be anything, but use some meaningful name. Okay. On the left side, on the right side of the equal sign, what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify a into a. The parameter, whatever I'm specifying it here, I need to use the formula here, and here I need to return the value. The function has to return a value. Remember this. Okay. Here, what I'm doing is, in this case, I just specify the parameter name. In this case, a. Data type. This is a syntax. The keyword you need to specify as, and then you need to specify data type, and then rocket symbol. And then here you have let. By default, when you open it, the let and in block, you will find it. Okay. So in this case, in the let block, what you do is you define a variable. On the right side of the equal sign, you specify the expression. This is called your expression. Okay. A star A. In this case. Okay. And then the output of this value will get stored in this variable. This variable, I'm going to return it in the in block. You have something a let block and then in block. Whatever the calculation you want to do it, you can do it in the let block. And whatever the final output that you want to return it, you can return it as part of the in block. But here you specify only one value. Okay, fine. I'm going to hit done here. Let's see if this throws any error. No error, nothing. Good. So here it gives me something. Here itself I could have created it, but you should know, because in real-time scenario, you're not going to write one-liner code, right? So in that kind of situation, click on the advanced, you write it. So here we need to test it here. For example, if I give 16, 16 will get copied here, and then 16 into 16 is 8. If I click on OK, 16 into 16, how much? 256. I created this function once, and now I can reuse it as many times. If I want to square the value 256, click on it. 65536. That is the advantage of creating a user-defined function. Once you create a function, you can reuse it as many times as you want it. The custom function is also called as user-defined function. The function has to return a value, single value. Okay. And the function, okay, you can apply the function on your data set also, or if you want to test it, you can test it like this. Okay, here I'm going to give the meaningful name, square me, something like that. Okay, this is my function name. This is the test for different value. What is the output? We can see it here. Look here. In this case, I passed 256 for this to this function. It returned the value as 65536. You can remove these two things. You can retain these two if you want it in your project. These are the very simple part. The other example is you need to find out the age of each employee or the customer. For example, in your data set, let's say you have something called customer data set is available. In the customer data set, you have a column called date of birth. Each customer date of birth is there. What you need to find out each customer age. For that, create a function, custom function, and then you apply that function on your customer data set to create a new column by the name of age. By knowing the age of each customer, again we can create another column. Okay, and like I have shown yesterday, conditional column, bucketing, age segment. So with that, we can understand which age group people spend how much. Based on, and also which age group spend on which products, which categories. Based on which we can target those customers with those products, which age group customers are spending more on which product. So that we can target those customers in future if we come up with any special offer also. So that can interest them to come back and purchase it to your shop again, because you have competitors. Your customer may purchase it from this time, this month. Next month, you cannot expect the same customer can walk into your store, right? So once you have the customer data, extract the customer birth date, year age from the given date. Once you know the age of each customer, you can create a segment. With that segment, you can do further analysis. That is a different thing altogether, but our focus is now create a function to calculate age. How do you do that? That I will give you as an assignment. You have liberty to do Googling and you do it. You can use ChatGPT also. Okay. And you can create it and try to understand that one. Okay. Okay, I'm done with the custom function. What is the next thing? Next thing is the query parameter. We will discuss this in tomorrow's session.